close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if it's ready. The devil of your friend, falling in love. The pain of life, just listen to my story. You lost your best friend.
All right, can you hear me?
Wanna find a friend who did it, cock back your weapon. Don't wanna look to the church for confessions. If you kill him, you can end up in correction. Some look for the needles and drugs for injection. When I lost Caesar, I was ready for the action. This shit hurts hard, and it really did. But you gotta let the pain go, and that's how you live. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Falling in love may be easy to some of y'all, but some people in this world have downfalls. Been in love so many times, their heart got lockjaw. Mention the word love, pause, and the tears start to crawl down their face fast like Niagara Falls. Feeling you had them messed up like prank calls. Why it gotta be so damn hard trying to find the right one? Set your standards high and get this like an AM. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Phone bill is due, rent and cars too. By the end of the month and you got no food. Mom at home first and dad can't go to work. That's only if you had a dad. Imagine that hurt. 4 kids in one house, one mom and no spouse. Not enough room and family sleep on the couch. You don't know why and you looking for an answer. Just found out grandpa got cancer. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pains of life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I don't know if everyone is here. I can hear. Let me put my headset on. Hey, young lady.
Hey, how's it going? Is there too much background noise?
No, there isn't. I want to introduce everybody to my co-host, Miss Talisa Hawkins.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Look, sending out the cheers. We're just gonna clap real quick. So look, today is our first podcast. Can you hear me clear enough?
I sure can.
Oh, that's great. How do you feel?
I feel great. I've been thinking about this podcast all day about what we're going to talk about.
Have you shared it with anybody yet? Like, I know I just started sharing it on Facebook and stuff, but I want us to get to the point to where we can invite people.
Mhm. Well, I just got set up with Podbean like today, a few minutes ago, so I haven't gotten to share it with anybody, and I'm still figuring out that part. But yeah, I think now that I'm here and I know what it is, and we've got a clear schedule, then I'll go ahead and try to share it weekly. you know, Often, periodically.
Well, like I said, I just started sharing myself. Um, a lot of this, we're both new to this type of entertainment, right?
Hmm.
So, we may have some little bumps here and there, but at the same time, though, this is I think this is a great platform for me and you when it comes to the conversation that we're going to be discussing when it comes to loving in color in Colorado.
Yeah, I think so. And it helps that we're both living in Colorado. Ha ha ha.
It does. Um, so I picked a topic for today's show. Let's plan on corresponding with each other for Wednesday's show. Maybe we add a part one or a part two. Um, but today I was thinking of the topic: who taught you, black man, black woman, love? Is that deep?
Yeah, and I remember when you originally brought the topic up, it was a real good question. I had to stop and think, like, was I taught to love? Yeah. And I realized that a lot of my earlier struggles and things was not really knowing how
Now,
to love or what
now
love
the
looked like for
background
me.
is loud.
Is it?
Oh yes, yes. Everything in the background.
Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, I think this is
Oh,
a
that's much better.
really deep topic. I'm glad I was like, oh, I hope you can hear that. I'm living in my apartment, my one bedroom apartment, and my mom and my sister and my niece and my son are all here, so trying to find somewhere that you can't hear the TV and everything. So
Gotcha.
what I was saying was that when I really thought about it, I don't think that I was actually taught how to love. I don't think I was taught how to survive, is more it. You know, there wasn't
Yes,
too much opportunity for me to learn how to love when I was constantly worried about surviving, and that's what everyone in my family was focused on.
that is definitely the topic right there. I I was always told, you black, so you better think. That's those are things that we're used to hearing. You know what I mean? Like not or as a boy, you better not be out there having sex is what I was told. And then if you out there having sex, you better be using a goddamn condom because I better not become no grandmother at no damn young age. That's what I was told.
Mm.
And it happened anyways. Like, and I was the first one, you know? And I was everything in the book but a child of God when it came to my mama. And and having a child and that was the discussion of love. Like I didn't I didn't have any raisins as a boy. As a black male, I never was taught anything about love, love of self, love, love. I was told you got five brothers and God gave you five brothers. That's it. Like, I was like, so what am I supposed to do with that?
Right. And I would say, like, in a way, like my brother, my youngest brother, he has three sisters, and of course my mother. So he's been around women his whole life, and we like shower my brother with attention and affection to reassure him as a black man in this world. Like my brother is very very confident in himself. He's borderline egotistical because he's so confident in himself. Um, and for a while, it didn't manifest itself in the women that he was dating because he wasn't listening to what we were saying, but he was listening to what society was saying and what society was telling him, a girlfriend or love should look like. And so as he's gotten older, he started to pay more attention to that and the girls that he dates. He's not a guy. He tells me all the time he don't really like to date promiscuous women. I'm not here for slut shaming, so I don't subscribe to that. So if I catch him even sounding like he's about to slut shame a woman or anything like that, I'm quick to like check him. Like, but he's always like, no, it's not that I disrespect them. He's like, it's just that I wouldn't date them. He was like, but why would I? He's like, look at my sisters. Like, y'all don't carry yourselves like that. Like, y'all are not there posting yourselves up like that. And so then I started to realize, like, oh, yeah, for him, what love looks like is him being treated the way we would treat him with kindness and love and support. So that's what he expects from the women that he's dating, and he expects them to carry themselves in a way that represents kindness and support because of how we are. So,
Yeah, so it does have a lot to do with where we see love come from. Can we agree with that one?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the way we're treated, the way our family is treated. Um, so many times I hear, you hear somebody, a girl who's just like cussing her kids out. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. But when I grew up in the South, like in the projects, it was a common thing. You hear like girls cussing their fucking kids out. But then when you see them with
Yeah, I'm a hood
their
nigga.
mom cussed them out. Like, just cuss them out. Like, why do you talk to your kids like that? And so then they grow up to talk to their spouse like that, their kids like that, their friends like that. And they think that that's how it's supposed to be or that's normal because that's the way their mom does it.
Well, that's the level of understanding, and that's one of the things that I am also experiencing myself with my growth is the ability to take the information that you're hearing, process it properly, and then give clear and honest feedback on it. Like, I just got through reading the Four Agreements, and
I haven't read that yet. I heard great things about it.
now, once again, for me, these are all new things that I've been taking up during COVID. Um, to grow as a better individual, not just a better individual, I'm trying to be a stronger black man. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Um so to be stronger, one must know self. And one of the things that I learned reading that book, one of the agreements, don't take anything personal. That is one of the hardest things in life to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a big struggle for everyone. I mean, I literally just had this conversation with my mom today. Literally, was losing track of time because there was a whole argument, and really, like, it's mainly my mom was taking things personal. And I'm like, mom, it's not what some people do is not about you. It's not because of how they feel about you. Sometimes it don't even have nothing to do with you. It has to do with
That's a
everything.
majority of the time. That's the majority of the time. It's just like with Karens. You know, we don't. We all love to say "ooh Karen, ooh Karen, ooh Karen," but at the same time, we don't know what Karen went through at that day, that moment, or the moments before, or the hours before. We don't know what was on her mind, right?
Yeah,
We,
but that don't give Karen the right to weaponize her
I
whiteness.
know. At the same time, though, but at the same time, we do the same things with the way that we we go into love relationships not knowing about love,
Yeah,
and then when things go wrong, we go, oh, well, people don't understand, or da 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 da. Da. Everybody's telling a story, their own story, living their own life story, something like that. I heard that quote somewhere.
yeah.
But love,
Everybody's the victim in their own story.
yeah,
Everyone's, the hero in their own story. Nobody wants to be the villain or, the person who's responsible for the bad things that happen in their lives. And it's it takes a level of self awareness that sometimes I worry people don't have the ability to do because it takes you being brutally honest and saying, you know what, I'm a fucked up person. You know,
it
you
takes
know what?
training.
Damn, I did do that. I hurt that person. Damn. You
It
know?
takes it takes teaching and someone willing to be trained to give a damn.
Mm.
Like the basic foundation of giving a damn is not fundamentally taught anywhere, I don't believe.
No, it's not. It's not like class. It's not like a foundational thing that they're educating you how to care. Like we're taught in American society to fuck you, get money,
Yes.
do what you have to do to be successful. Screw those people over there. It don't matter.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's the ultimate sin of America, right? Because that's the shit that allowed slavery to happen. That's the shit that allowed mass genocide to happen. This attitude of screw them, I'm gonna get money.
You have
No,
just
I'm gonna do
mentioned
for me.
pride, greed, and uh sloth all in one.
Yeah, gluttony, all in one.
Well, yeah, you're right. Gluttony, because when you have enough and yet you still
Still
keep
want
trying,
more.
yes, trying to, yes, wanting more. Um, a lot of people, a lot of us, especially like when I talk with my homies, I know love is not a conversation when dating. And yet we love to say, "Oh, I know what love is. I know what love is." Remember listening to Lauren Hill's album and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
teacher asked the
It's
kids,
education.
wasn't those some of the best responses of love that you've ever heard?
Yeah, I can't even really remember them, though I do remember that they were deep. The feeling of love transcended the record, whether I remembered what they said exactly or not.
That it did. I think that is where a lot of us learn love, and unfortunately, the side that we get the most part is sexual. Like we know when a man loves a woman, we know songs like that, but we take out the details when we're doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think it's more so. It goes back to self, right? Because you have to love on you to know what love feels like. Because then
Right.
that's when you can define it for other people. Because a lot of times you'll ask somebody like, "What is love?" and they won't be able to say it, or they won't be able to clearly tell you, what it is that will make them feel love. is like this abstract thing, this fuzzy feeling that they can't put a language to. But when you start to love on you, you can say, I, for instance, for me, I love, when people, I love my free time. I enjoy myself and I enjoy my own company. So anytime someone creates an environment where I can do that, it makes me happy. And sometimes that looks like, you know, taking my car to do an
Selfishness.
oil change so I don't have to do that shit. You know, if
Right.
a guy do it my oil change for me, like that creates space for me to be with me and to, focus on myself and take care of myself and love on me. And so you creating that space for me shows me that you love me because you want me to be able to take care of me. You want me to be my best self. So, once you figure out by loving on you what love feels like, what love looks like I like to ask, what would you look like if you were in love? Or what would you be doing if you were in love?
That is
What would that
such
look
an
like? Tell me it.
intelligent question. What? That is such an intelligent question for people to ask themselves. That's crazy.
And
Go
actually,
ahead.
that was by a psychologist. I'll have to get her information and give it to you. She's a black woman. She's fantastic. I just watched her on a panel discussion, and that was the question she said. She asked her patients was, what would love look like? What would you look like? What would you be doing? What would you be wearing? Where would you be going? All of that stuff is going to show you what love looks like. Because a lot of times we just get in relationships and then we like hope to fall in love instead of knowing that if the person does this, and this, I'm going to be in love with them.
But once again, we're not raised, right? One, the love that a majority of, not to say the majority, let's just go ahead and keep it simple. In the hood, because of systemic racism, right? There are certain things that we know. Fathers absent due to things that occur, right? At the same time, the the things that people do to find love during those times too are what we're seeing as acceptable relationships. So if nobody's acknowledging that, yeah, I've been looking around and haven't been, you know, putting in that type of effort for those type of things, right?
Right, and I think a lot of it is people, especially in our community, people think that them living their normal lives or being their normal selves is being loved, and in some ways it is, and in a lot of ways it's not. Like if how you're being is not conducive for a relationship, then you are not being a person who is able to be in a relationship. If you're being selfish or you're being self-centered or you're not willing to compromise, all of those things are individualness, and you can't really be an individual in a relationship. Like you can't. But because
Correct.
of our community and the nature of our history in this country and, being separated and being, barred from being able to be married and not be in a relationship and all of that other stuff, like we just have not seen it up close and personal. Like we have not seen healthy men and black women and men in relationships. We don't know what it looks like because even the people of us who have seen people who are married, a lot of times their marriage isn't aspirational. A lot of times there's some things in their marriage that is just like ugh, and it makes you wonder like, oh, is this how a relationship is, like where everybody's just miserable in their marriage, or maybe
Yes. Are they
we're not doing
there?
this right.
Are they there just because they have kids, or are they
Right.
there just because they work together? Like, I mean, it's amazing the things that you see people attempt to do when it comes to trying to explain their love. Does that make sense?
Yeah, or
Or
justify it more so.
expressing it, like one of the things I learned of family love was every year my aunt would asked her sisters, "Where are we going to do Christmas at?" And I knew once that was figured out, I would get to see all of my cousins for Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like everybody was gonna be at one house for Christmas. We was all gonna get together, and that was one of the things I knew family love was.
that's beautiful. There's always some family drama when all of us got together.
I mean,
I did enjoy going and seeing all my cousins and being at my grandma's house. Those are some of my fondest memories of my childhood. Is all of us being together at my grandmother's house during the summertime. So that sense of family love is there, and it's great because it's the foundation of my self esteem, my confidence. My grandmother made sure to tell me that I was beautiful all the time.
amen.
Um,
See,
but
some
in
self
me
love
doing that,
stuff.
she also made sure to remind me of the way the world would view me, and she grew up in a time when segregation was at a high, and so she looks at me when we were living in this all white neighborhood. We're like one of the only black families there. And I had lots of white friends growing up. I had like no real problems. But she just used to look at me all the time with so much fear. You're so beautiful. And if this was back in the day, things would be different.
Oh yeah. And see, when it comes to like me, I wasn't raised to know that I was handsome or I was that I should care about myself. I wasn't. It just wasn't told to me. You know, you're a handsome young man. Da, 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 love yourself. Da, da, da. That just wasn't taught to me. Unfortunately,
Can
I
I ask you something?
say that again.
Can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
So, have you expressed this to your mom or to your family? What
Oh
did
yeah,
they
no,
say about it?
I have totally gotten over. I had to learn to forgive a lot of things to learn to love myself
Mhm.
first. Um, that's one of the things that I think is great for people that don't understand therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. Therapy, the big T word. Uh, I'm so grateful for the therapy that I've gotten because I don't know how I'd be doing right now if it wasn't for me learning my triggers and learning how to manage my triggers and being able to, put my emotions back together after I've had a moment of, emotional unrest. I don't know where I would be in life or in my career.
I tell people about the struggles that I go through so that or have gone through and gotten over so that they can help themselves if those type of situations help them. Um yeah, I know I know trauma firsthand just for the simple fact of individuals not wanting to face the truth that I would put out there. And they'd say, "Oh, you shouldn't tell the truth all the time. You should learn how to lie." Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm supposed to tell everybody it's called testifying, right? Like, right? But it's like people don't testify because they're afraid of what other people are going to either say or suggest or assume,
Mhm.
which I can understand
Right.
that type of outside scrutiny can damage someone. At the same time though, we I remember growing up in a time where your parents, not your parents, your family made you feel uncomfortable, so you become comfortable. And that's one of the things that I'm remembering is that a lot of times it's not just survival love that we were taught. We were taught tough love. Like,
Yeah.
no one's going to give a damn about you, which that's something that we're not teaching ourselves to do for others in general. So, yeah, that's the way life is going to continuously be, right?
Yeah, and it's not even so much that like that's the only type of tough love because another kind we get is like this, you can't cry, you can't take care, you can't be emotional. Like you can't show that. You have to be able to just stuff it down and push through. Like we are always told like you gotta push through. Like you don't get to cry, you can't sit down and cry about it. But like sometimes you need to cry. Like sometimes
Did you
the
cry a
only way to
lot?
get those emotions out is by crying. No, growing up I didn't cry. And I think that's the problem with the perception of black women today is that people see black women as being tough and strong and capable because people don't see us breaking down. They
Right.
see
Because
us
when
get
I see,
shouting and push through, or we
yeah,
get
because when
loud and push
I
through,
apologize.
but we don't cry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I apologize first for talking while you were talking. Um, I totally understand what you're saying there because when I seen my mama cry, that used to break my heart. Period. Like, you, whatever whatever she was crying about, I wanted to fix, and I didn't know as a kid how to fix it. You know what I mean? And it and
And
that
that's
is
what happens when you're vulnerable. When black women are vulnerable with the black men, they can't help but feel like I want to fix it. Like I want to fix this while you're crying. Like let me help you. But we don't choose because we haven't been taught to show that side of our vulnerability. We choose the other way, which is to get angry or we get defensive. And then that doesn't, people don't want to help nobody who's angry because then you become, we actually blame people for their own anger. Like when people get upset and act out, it's like, oh, it's your fault. You should have controlled your anger. But if you were to break down crying, people would have been like, oh man, it's okay, da, 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 da. People just respond differently to anger and rage than they do to vulnerable, like a crying or something like that. And so when women cry, that's what happens. But a lot of times, socially, on a large scale, you don't really see black women crying like that.
right. And that's the God's honest truth. And that's the other thing is that with men, black men, we're not taught that it's okay to cry. Like, and when we do cry, there are people saying, "You're a man. You better man up."
Tough it
Like,
up.
yeah, and you're not even nowhere near the definition of what a man is. You're just a male until you can be the definition of a man. For me, the two most powerfulest creatures on this earth are a man and a woman, for the simple fact of everything that they hold themselves accountable to, their rights, their wrongs, their the information they know, the information they don't know, their strengths, their weaknesses, you know what I mean? And they testify to these things and they walk by faith, not by sight. And those are very powerful things for me to, you know what I mean, say that, oh yeah, I'm a man. Like, are you serious? Like, I'm
Is
learning
it?
how to love myself right now at 44 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been alone for so long that I don't know how to be in a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But I wouldn't go ahead.
oh, I apologize. I was saying, so, like, for me, this is like a big restart of the education of learning. And I think that's what we need to just start asking as a frequent question to our, just to people that we know, whether it be people of color or people not of color. What are you doing to teach your kids how to love themselves and love others?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think
Hold them
it's the
to
reason why
specifics.
my son, whenever he has a moment where he's crying or something like that, I always let him know that it's okay. You know, it's okay to cry. Just know that you still have to take an action. Like you still have to do something.
Right.
So, you know,
Eventually,
I
you
know
got to
you're
stop
sad
crying
that
and
you
do
dropped your
something.
Skittles and I'm sad they're all over the floor. And, you know, if you want to cry, that's okay. But know that you still got to grab the broom and the dustpan and you have to sweep this up.
That's right.
You know? It's okay to cry about it, but you can't just sit and cry and feel sorry for yourself.
And that's for
You
real.
do have to keep on, you know, going on. And another thing I do is my son, when he started being in the mirror, you know, looking in the mirror and playing in the mirror like kids do, I tell him, I was like, you know what you do when you look at yourself in the mirror? And he was like, no. I was like, you say kind things about yourself. And you look for the things that you like about yourself. Whenever you see yourself, you make sure to say, I look good. You look nice today, Elijah. You make sure that you look at the things that you like about yourself because that's how you build yourself up.
And that's the
I
truth.
make him
Like,
do that.
I, I so hated looking in the mirror at myself. Just like I said, because of the simple fact of not being raised and taught to love myself. So when I look in the mirror now, I don't say five things. I do say you are worthy of love and I love you.
Yeah.
Because I don't, you know what I mean? I don't have anybody that loves me. So I got to love myself. People love to say, well, what about your son? That's a different type of love. They don't get that though.
For me, it's all the same. I think that, you know, the way that society has trained us has taught us to compartmentalize our love, which makes it feel like we have a limited supply of it. But when you begin to take the walls down and you look at all of it and realize that love is a pool and it just replenishes itself as more people come and dump their love in for you into it. It's not that this love is over here and that love's over there. It's that they're all love and they all are pouring into the cup that is Chris until it's full and it overfills. So, you know, expanding your
Got you.
network or expanding the people that you spend time with just means that you get more people to pour into that pool of I love and of love of you and appreciation. And so that's why it's so important to look at who's in your circle and be careful about who's in your circle because are they pouring love in or are they pouring animosity? You know, are they pouring love in or is it a little jealousy? You know, is it hate sprinkled in with? Is it bitterness? Is there anything in the cup? Are they just coming in there and dumping it in air? You know, you gotta be mindful about who's in your circle because you know they're all dumping into your cup.
And man, there are so many people that I know that I have, excuse me, you know, that's the marijuana. Uh, um, watching so many people that I interact with and their relationships, it is amazing that one, some of them last so long. Two, that either of them comprehend sooner that they should have just been a fling. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
maybe not even just a fling. Maybe they were just supposed to be individuals that met, got to know each other, and things didn't work out, and they move on, but they didn't. And but I watch a lot of guys struggle with after they're in a relationship maintaining every other relationship that they've built along with that relationship.
Mhm. Yeah, and I would definitely question that because I know for me, I can't be a part of anything where I have to like lose my identity in it. Especially in the career that I have. So much of what I do is about the relationships that I have with people. So I'm on lunches and I'm on coffee dates, and some of them are guys, and so I would need somebody who would be secure in my relationships outside of the relationship. Um, and some people are not that way. Um, One of the things I heard about America, besides black people, because we didn't really come over here and native folks, they didn't come over here. But a lot of the other people who came here, like, left their family and everything they knew behind. And they were
Yes.
okay with that. So we have bred a culture of people who are totally okay with being reclused away from their family. And they will try to make you be that way too.
Yeah.
Like, I
That
should be everything for you. And that's just not healthy.
that makes such of a point. Like just in general, you have so many people, yeah, that gave up everything. That's your little man, right?
This is my niece. Get out.
Oh, excuse me.
Close the door. Thank you.
She
Yeah,
just
but
running
that's
around
true.
looking.
Yeah, she has her dad on the phone, and um, yeah, she wanted to show me. So,
Got you.
but speaking of dad, that brings it back to the topic that we were talking about because one of the things I thought about today is my relationship with my dad, and I was like, you know what, we've come a long way. He's been in my life mainly since I was older. But since he's been in my life, my dad has been a man who, showers me with gifts. It's like he's the only man in my life who buys me like name brand items. And whenever we go out to eat, he always pays for me. And so I started to look at that and realize, like, that's what I expect from a lot of the men that I date because that's the way my father has treated me since I've met him. And he's been consistent in doing that.
Then every
So,
man must provide. I mean, there's nothing wrong
or
with that.
right, or at least, as much as it's providing, it's more so like being there, right? Like, I just like, I hate car shit. Like, that's not my thing. So, most of the time, my dad do my car stuff, or he at least helps me with it. So, I want somebody who can do that too, because that's something that I need support in. So, it's more so like, what can you do to like lighten the load off of me while I'm figuring out how to love on you. Because in most cases, a lot of times, what men require, like of women in relationships, I've been listening to like a lot of podcasts and stuff, trying to really understand what men are looking for and how they feel. So I listen to like the roommates, and I listen to the crew, and I listen to Kevin Samuel sometimes. Sometimes he's hit or miss, but I really listen to them. And one thing that's consistent I hear is that like sex and affection and, being hugged on and told that you are important or that you're handsome, all of that type of stuff matters to men as much as it matters to women. And I don't think that women are being taught that. I think women are just taught to show up and think that that's enough. Like just being in the relationship is them being in love. And I know so many women who don't even know that they have to consider what the man wants and how he feels and what makes him happy.
Because we don't, we, a lot of us don't even care about what we're going through. We just go, I have to make it through the day. Does that make sense? Like, we know when we go to work every day, okay, I got to go to work every day. Let me make this happen. Got to go to work every day. Let me make this happen. We don't care if it's emotionally draining us, if it's physically draining us. We don't we just keep going, you know what I mean? And then to have somebody to be able to replenish that is a gift. So we can keep
Mhm.
on going as long as we're replenished, right? But
Right.
when we're not even being acknowledged or spoke of, that is what breaks down a man, I believe, or a male, excuse me, is like you said, the non-acknowledgement that, you know what, I'm doing all of this, and I'm not crying, but right now I want to cry and I can't cry because you don't make me feel like if I cry in front of you, you'll go, "Oh, you punk." You know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
guys don't like, or should I say, I don't know if women do it to hurt guys' feelings, but like when guys like to go, or when guys hang out with their friends and women like to go, "Oh, they gay." That that's that's a mental punch to a guy. You know what I mean? Like that's his best
Yeah.
friend. That's his best friend, somebody that he knows he will die for. Like if someone shot at him, he knows, and he saw it and he could pull him out the way or jump in the way. That's the type of friend he is, and they get called out into certain things like that. And that's a form of love that folks don't, that only guys have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it makes no real sense in the mind of women because patriarchy has told them that men are supposed to die for them and them only.
Oh,
You know, that's the
ooh.
whole marriage till death do us part, protector, provider. Like,
Look,
in
we had
their
to throw an
mind,
uh-oh in there.
patriarchy has just trained women to believe that, the only thing that men should be dying for is the honor of their country or their wives and their children. And like everything else is secondary. But,
Wow, that is
it's,
so much right there is good.
and women are not encouraged to have female friends. Like, women are not encouraged to have female friends. Women are encouraged to see other women as competition, to see other women as competitive. And so they can't understand that type of like friendship or peer bonding because that's what that is. It's you've bonded with your peer. They can't understand that in that type of capacity because most women have never had that type of relationship with a woman and probably don't have it with their own mother or sister or cousin.
That is so deep. Like guys, honestly, guys can't make it without guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we this is why you see so many different types of guys. Like, yeah, one of the things that gets on my nerves is like the individuals who are not man enough to go to battle, but they're man enough to stand by the person who's willing to go to battle for everybody. And regardless what the man that's going to battle does, they're always there for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Gaston.
Oh my gosh, like look,
Yeah,
it's
his little
amazing how
sidekick
many
there.
it's amazing how many cartoons or anime we can just or movies in general that we can apply to ways that we would love to be loved. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's a positive thing and it's an unhealthy thing as it is right now because for years we've been fed a narrative of what love looks like, and that's not what it is in reality. We always see the and they live happily ever after, but we don't see the in between. Like we don't see the trials and the tribulations and the things they have to overcome and the compromises to show that hey, it's not as easy as it seems. And so both men and women have been fed bullshit about what dating is like. You have women who believe that oh, a man should love you beyond how you look and he should really care about your personality because that's what Hollywood and movies say, right? But
Yeah.
that's not reality. And then for men, it's like, well, girls always overlook the good guys, and they always overlook the nerds, and they should just give us a chance, like the Revenge of the Nerd type shit. And it's like that's not reality. Reality is that most of the nerds get money, and then they get the women that they want. Like that's how it happens in reality because women respect resources. You know,
And
it's
that's the crazy thing, cause see, once women give guys like that the opportunity, they have now given that guy a reason to have ego.
yeah, because
That's
in patriarchy teaches men that women are not people, we're things.
no, 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 no,
Things to
no.
show
In
off and
general,
things to like
it's
parade
it
around your friends and it
it's
has to be
not that.
shiny
It's
and
that's
nice.
how happy you're so happy you want them to be around your friends. You know what I mean? You're so happy with them, you want them to be around your family. That's the thing for men, right? We want to do those things. However, when a woman says or when a female says, um, well, I don't have any friends, that's spooky to a guy.
It should be. It should be a red flag. I think it should be a red flag for anybody if you come up with anybody, male or female, and they tell you that they don't have friends. Because I
And
definitely
I
came
honestly
across some
believe
men
that.
who said that same thing, like, nah, I can't have guy friends because they always trying to try me. Or I'm like, are they always trying to try you, or are you just always overreacting to some shit?
Well, see, that's the thing with guys. This is hilarious. With guys, little things can trigger the ding ding. You understand? And once the
Hmm.
ding ding starts to jumping, that's what's on their mind because the ding ding is jumping, not because what they thought about is on their mind making their ding ding jump. Now that when the ding ding is jumping, it's like, uh-oh, I need to fix this. Because we see it once again as a problem that needs to be fixed. What's wrong? I either need to beat it or put it in something. And that's crazy, right?
Yeah, I
She's like,
just think
she's
these
like, I'm not
lyrics.
seeing that one as funny.
I don't know. It's just I have such different experiences. It's like I date a variety of men, and men are. This is one thing that I don't think men know about each other is that y'all are very different with each other than you are with women.
of
A lot of time when we're in the presence of men, they're a whole different type of person than they are when they're in the presence of other men, which is unfortunate because you should be able to show that side of yourself all times and not have it mean nothing. But it's very different, and so I have experience where I have a lot of dudes who, yeah, they'll have a lot of men that they associate with, but they don't consider none of them niggas friends. And if it, at the drop of a dime, any of them niggas can get it. And it's like,
but that's
where is
just
that
it.
coming from? Where is that type of
But
like,
that's
and that's
just
the
it.
same thing with women. You'll find women like, nah, cause bitches be hating, and any bitch hate on me, she gonna be ready to fight.
But that's just
So
it.
it's
Once
like,
again, Guys lie about the dumbest of things. Does it make sense? Are you okay? I don't know if your phone.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
guys do. Do you know guys do dumb lies for like just dumb shit? Like lie about they. That's not my friend. Like just
Yeah.
to if it please for real, just to please the conversation. Like that's how dumb guys are. Like that's why I tell ladies, if you figure out how dumb we are and when you get down to the details of a guy will break down about who his real friends are. You know what I mean? Even everybody that he's hanging around everybody for a specific reason. Trust me.
Mm.
It's not that they are a form of 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 you've seen Charlie Brown, right?
Yeah, the cartoon.
Yeah. They're a form of security blanket. Everyone that everybody has around of them that they know of is a form of security blanket. I call it the inclusion drug because everybody wants to be included.
No, because that's not me. I'm ready to be
I'm not saying that.
excluded.
I'm not saying that. Every. But you know what I mean. The majority of people want to be a part of something. Want to be included in something.
Yeah, that's what thrives. That's what makes social media work.
Right. You know what I
Is the
mean.
need to be included.
Right. So for guys, just being included in something makes them feel good. But the thing is to be honest about that, you have so many of these macho men that were once again we had the conversation about uh men being sexually people having sexual relations before they find their sexual identity.
Hmm.
There are a lot of males that believe they have to be super macho. So they lie even more than folks think about, especially emotionally.
Hmm. I can definitely see that, and it's sad, which is why I'm always pushing for people to be able to come as they are, be themselves. I really want people to expand their conversation around sex and identity. But in order to do that, we have to rebut this system of patriarchy and this system that, of sexual shame, because people
Yes,
are not going to be honest
sexual
about it
shame is a big
until
thing.
people stop shaming people, and we have to stop using our own personal religions to shame other people. We all have to learn to mind our own business.
Well,
And that's the hardest thing to
everybody
do.
knows that religion is broken. Like
Mhm.
in general, it was a concept that somebody thought that they could put into play, and it's a broken concept. So now, once again, like just like how they talked back in the day, I I just like to say myself, I know that there is a higher power. I know that there is something bigger and better than me. I'm not about to play no
Right.
games.
That's it. And I don't have to, I don't have to say nothing about everybody's life, right? Because me tearing your life down don't do shit for me.
Correct. It don't do nothing for nobody, and that's one of the things.
Like, I didn't get better, I didn't get prettier, my life didn't get easier because I sat up and pointed out how your life is flawed.
And that's the God's honest truth. It's amazing talking with you. You know that, right? We're almost at our hour point.
I do know that. That's perfect because I was like making these barbecue baked beans and I forgot they was in the oven. I had to run up out. Like, oh no. The baked beans.
Look, look at you. Okay, so
They are
look,
right.
this conversation has been great. Do you think we should do a part two?
Yeah, I think we should. There's you can elaborate on this topic. Like we can talk days on this topic alone. Because we just talked about the now present. Like we didn't even really touch the like historical impact that this like where did this even begin? Where did the real
Yes,
rift between black men and women begin? Like because I think that's not even talked about enough. Like we don't really dwell on how slavery and the transatlantic slave trade really impacted the relationship between black men, black women, and black children.
oh, it's once again, we know it was completely breaking and damaging in general. And now we have all this PTSD coming to this large head of a pimple, and that's what's going on with America. There's so much PTSD going on that people are breaking now. And that's what we need to help. That's what I honestly believe. Like there's so many traumas that nobody is even talking about to get love to be even activated within them.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I think this has been a great start to it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for taking the time out and being vulnerable and opening up. It's important to have a black man in these discussions to really share that perspective.
Yeah, because we like to not share at all, and I'm doing my best to. I know there are going to be some people that know me that hear this and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you put that information out there." But at the same time, that's the whole point, you know. Like I said, a lot when I talk with guys and go, "Yeah, all guys are dumb. We do that naturally. We don't need no help." They go, "Yeah, you know that? That's true." You know what I mean? And and if
Yeah.
we just knew that that one fundamental was always going to be there, I think that would help them understand a man or a male more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think with that, this is a wrap until next week.
That's right,
What
young lady.
time and what place?
Same bat time on this podcast and same bat place on this podcast on Wednesday. Excuse me, I do apologize. Yes, Wednesday. We are going to go part twos on Wednesday. You are my
Alrighty.
co host, Talisa. Go ahead and say your name, young lady. I love the way you say it. You know I like you.
Talisa Hawkins, that's me. Most people just call me Queen, so
You
make
know
it
what?
easy
I'm
for
going to just
yourself.
keep it like that then. Queen. Look, I am host Chris Diggins, my co host, Queen. You have listened to Black Conscious Convo, Loving in Color, Colorado. Today's topic was love. Who taught you, black man, black woman? Y'all have a great evening. Bye bye.
Bye.
Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my story. You lost your best friend, shit's got you stressing. Wanna find a fool who did it, cock back your weapon. Don't wanna look to the church for confessions. If you kill him, you can end up in correction. Some look for the needles and lingo, and that's how you live. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life, just listen to my stories. Falling in love may be easy to some of y'all, but some people in this world have downfalls. Been in love so many times, their heart got lockjaw. Mention the word love, pause, and the tears start to crawl down their face fast like Niagara Falls. Feeling you had them messed up like prank calls. Why it gotta be so damn hard trying to find the right one? Set your standards high and get this like an M. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life, just listen to my stories. Phone bill is due, rent and cars too. By the end of the month and you got no food. Mom at home first and dad can't go to work. That's only if you had a dad, imagine that hurt. 4 kids in one house, one mom and no spouse. Not enough room and family sleep on the couch. You don't know why and you looking for an answer. Just found out grandpa got cancer. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a